So in this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to start creating some of the facial features for your big head. Now, the cardboard I used was just from a cereal box, so hopefully you've saved that. You've got cracker boxes, cereal boxes, any kind of packaging box, 12 pack of soda boxes. They're all really great. They're a little more flexible and are going to be easier to cut these sort of detailed shapes out. Now, you could start out with your stiffer cardboard to do these shapes, but in order to make them three-dimensional, you'll definitely need to use some of this because we're going to be using strips, and I'll show you that here in a second. So I've got three different things. I've got an ear and two noses, two different kinds of noses. This is kind of maybe a little bit more of a flat nose, and when you build these things, you'll definitely want to do some bending of areas. Like this one here, I just sort of cut out a triangle, and then I've got my ruler or like a straight edge that I can use for making a line and a folded line. So I'm just going to sort of hold that down, bring that up. Okay, so I kind of have sort of like a basic kind of ridge of a nose shape, and I can actually even do another line off of that line, and then one on the other side. That starts to give me a pretty good, bridge of the nose. Now, it depends on, what kind of nose that your person has. Is it kind of a little bit wider and flatter? Is it sort of longer and more narrow? Does it sort of stick out more? It's kind of up to you. Like this one here, this one doesn't, it might stick out a little bit more than this one's going to. Okay, and from here, I can do some things, like I could create, at the very end, you'll have to create some tabs. So I'm just sort of folding in these little pieces here, creating these little tabs, so that when I glue them to the surface of my head, those little tabs will glue down. Okay, and I'll have to do sort of the same thing over here. Now, if you've made your piece and you're like, oh wow, Mr. Davis, this looks really great. Oh, I didn't remember to make tabs. Well, thank goodness I gave you a whole lot of masking tape, because really you can actually you can sort of forgo the glue, and you can just slap that right on top and then put a little bit of masking tape, right on to hold that in place, because we're going to paper mache over the entire thing anyway. So this is probably going to be the best way to attach your pieces to your form, is with the masking tape here. Okay, and don't be afraid, use a decent amount. You have 2 rolls. Hopefully you won't go through both of them with this project, because there are some other things that we were going to be using them for, but that's pretty much what we're going for, was using these 2 for the big head project at the absolute sort of like at the most. Okay, so that's the best way to attach that. For this area in here, I could cut another shape, so I could actually like take some of my cardboard, and I could kind of line that up, trace the inside, so I have my shape, and then I can cut it out. And then I have my shape that will fit on the inside there. And of course, I will just use tape again. Just get that edge to edge. There's that one. Get that edge to edge. And boom, I've got my nice little nose form there. Okay, that one looks pretty good. So tape is your friend with the details, for sure. Tape's your friend with the details. Now, these other things, this ear, for example, and this nose, I could sort of do the same way. Now I have these strips here, again, the same flexible material, and just like I did in the demonstration with the creating the form of the head, I'm actually going to be making the little sort of ribbon curves here and curving the cardboard, because what's going to happen is I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to go and work this like all the way around this ear. So I'm just going to start taking some tape, and I'm going to go around the whole outside of the ear. I won't go quite all the way around it. And then I'm just going to start, and I'll just tape that, and I'll curve here, and I'll just keep taping, and I'll curve it again, and I'll tape again, and I'll curve again, and I'll just keep going all the way around this entire form, so that when I'm done, I have my ear form that is a nice depth coming off of the surface of my head. Okay, and again, same thing. Once you get the ear form and it's totally fleshed out and it looks really good, it'll be a little bit different. You'll want to, because if it's like this, of course, with an ear, the flesh in here is a little bit more tapered, of course, but you can let this sort of stick out a little bit more, which is totally fine. And again, when we go back and we start adding the paper mache, we're going to sort of build up this form. But again, to just attach it to the head form, I'm just going to create a couple of pieces of tape. Again, a couple of spots. I'll bend them back a little bit. I'll get it to where my head is. And voila, I have my ear attached to my head form. Okay, now with this nose, it would be the same process. Now you might not want this as tall, but you probably are going to want it fairly tall. So start out with a wider piece of cardboard, you know, tape it on there, see what it looks like. You know, it's just tape, masking tape comes right off. So you can just untape it from here, take this tape off, cut this down so it's thinner, and then try it again. Okay, but again, for this, you really want to have those thinner cardboard boxes. It'll work a little bit easier than it will with the thicker stuff.